Okay, so this is going to be a quick video on how to get your data or your key number from your tracking. I've got one of Vicky's group's files, so I'm just going to work through that and we'll go from there. I'm also not going to stop if there's interruptions, I'll just keep going. So it's a rough cut video, but it'll do. So you have your tracker software. We need to get if you don't have a tab, we need a new tab. So this is probably the window that you're actually at. We need to import a video. Where if you've got it, I download it into my downloads folder, of course. So right there, open, and it'll load it in. Okay, this will pop up. This will be something about some frames. That's fine. It's probably the compression on the video or the downloads come through, so that's completely fine. It's nice that it gives you a recommended start and end, so it's a rough guess. But go okay, you don't need to worry about it. We need to do a couple things on every video to get set up. First thing is you need to set your scale and you need to set your axes. Scale is up here at the top. This little stick, down arrow, new, we need calibration stick. Okay. What's nice is you can scroll to zoom around your video. And you need to, whenever we're clicking on anything, they're always shift clicks. Okay, so our meter started at the right side of the tape, so shift click there, come in here, shift click to this side of the tape, and then if we scroll out, we can hit tab, and then it's actually hard to see, but the distance came up there. We're just going to go 1 meter, set our distance. So that's calibrated the video now for length. The other thing is we want to set our X and Y axes because no video is generally ever recorded straight up and down. Perfect. So click here. Okay, this comes in. Click in the middle to drag it round. You want to use something that's nice and easy to see if it's horizontal, vertical. So the table line in the background here. So I'm just going to set that there. Grab here on the line, and that'll calibrate my XY. And you'll see nicely now that up the back of the cabinet as well. You want to do that, otherwise it's going to, if you're recording just an X velocity or a Y velocity, if you don't do that, you're going to get a bit of contamination between your two. Because, like I said, no video is probably ever set up perfectly straight up and down. So they're the two things that we need, and we can hit enter. That's completely fine. What you're going to do, you can try and use the auto tracker. I don't recommend it. It gets lost. The boys doing the parachute stuff were struggling with that, so we're just going to do a manual track. Before we do that, we want to find out some useful frames. There's no point actually recording some stuff that's not useful. So this is what you can see down the bottom left here. We're up to frame 76, still nothing happening. So keep going, there we go. Okay, so we're going to start tracking around there. So 112. So you grab this little black arrow down here, and that sets our start frame. So we'll go to 112. You don't need to be too precise because normally the data at the very start and the very end are no good. So you don't want that. And then we can just go check the end. Oh, so that's flowing off the edge already. So around there. So I'm going to bring this back to when we can still see it. Okay, so roughly there. Okay, so you want to set your start and end before you do your track. Otherwise, you end up tracking all these useless frames and waste your time. The other thing, I would suggest setting your step size to 2 or 3. Depends how long your actual data is. So if you've got half a second, you'll want every frame. If you've got a second and a half, every second frame or something. And if you go a larger step size, it'll actually smooth out a bit of your data. We're just going to go 2. Okay, so there we go. And that's looking pretty good. Okay, now we do our track. So go up to the top, up this here, create button, click create, and we just want a point mass, which is fine. And it's going to just set its name for you. And you're going to go here. And to start tracking, okay, scroll in. You're going to pick a spot that you can consistently click on, and you'll see if I scroll this along, when it's moving, you can't actually see the stem of the mass very well. So I'm going to pick actually the center of the weights, where I think the center is, which is going to be roughly about there. Okay, because the front is blurred. Okay, it's a bit hard to tell. Okay, so between here and here somewhere, there's the center. You can guess center of the stem. So that's what I'm always going to pick. So go back. Okay. Now to track point mass, same thing, it's going to be a shift click. Okay. So hold down shift and I'm going to pick my spot. Okay, and it's going to start advancing automatically for me every step. And I'm going to try and be as accurate as possible, so zooming in is helpful. And you'll see on the right it's actually already generating a graph for me, which is really nice. And you just keep going until you get to the end. Okay, and here, while it's getting fast, it's getting pretty hard to try and determine. And if it doesn't move, that means you're at your last frame. So your track's done. Okay, and if you drag it back, all your data's there. And if you hit this little green play button, it'll play and show you your track data. Cool. And track along here. Now, to get the graphs you want, you just click on your axes labels. So there or here, and I'm going to make this a bit bigger so you can actually see. Okay. So I'm going to click here, and for these guys, they want a velocity time graph. From the velocity time graph, they can then use the gradient line of best fit. They can use the gradient of it to get their acceleration, and we just care about we can do either way. They could do their x velocity or they could do their velocity magnitude. Okay, so their velocity magnitude is combining the x and y components just to be its net velocity, which works pretty good. Here we can see that graph is pretty good. We've got some wobbles up here at the top, which showing a little bit of messiness, and if we go along, highlight, so right there, so it's going past this white, so maybe my data point's off by a little bit. These guys also did note though, right around this spot, there was a bump on the plane, so that may have been adding a little bit of friction, which meant its velocity didn't increase very much, but then after it went past it, it kept increasing. Cool, so we have a velocity time graph. What we want from this is the acceleration for Vicky's group. They want an acceleration value. So we can leave that at that, but that looks pretty good. Now, if your data was way up and down, then you know you're getting some funny results. And what you might do is just look at one part of it. Okay, you could just look maybe just here, just look at these values. You might pick that spot right there and that spot right there and just do a manual calculation, because down the bottom here you're even told, okay, you're told some values, okay, but you can look at on the graph. So we went from 0.2 at 0.25, we've gone up to 0.6 at 0.54 maybe. You can just get a simple gradient from that, rise over run. You've gone up 0.24 for a time period of whatever it was, 0.4 seconds. Simple. If you want to get an actual line of best fit and get the computer to do the work for you, you're going to have to go into View, okay, Data Tool Analyze. Click that. Okay, this will take us here. Okay, what we need to do is, where'd it go? Oh, here we go. Analyze. So, oh, slow. Is that going to do it for us? That gives us individual slopes. We don't want that. So we'll take that off. Analyze. Curve fits. Okay. And these guys, like we said, we want a gradient, line of best fit for that. Okay. So we want a line type equation. Okay. And all they care about, okay, is the A value. We don't care about the intercept. Okay, we just care about the A value, the gradient. Okay, our A is 5.8 times 10 to the negative 1. Okay, so that's time e to the negative 1 means times 10 to the negative 1. So we just move our decimal place back 1 point, so that becomes 0.58. So their average acceleration for this was 0.58 meters per second. And I know from their just timing with the stopwatch they got similar results. But this way we can avoid some issues at the start and we can avoid some issues at the end. Okay. So that's how you do it. Now if you find that this is giving funky or you want to exclude these results here at the end, you have to close back out of this and you actually need to use what you're setting, okay, these little start and end points. Okay, so if I want to actually exclude, let's say the mass is here, I want to exclude all the data points past that, I need to drag this black arrow back to what I want to get rid of, okay, and then go view, analyze, okay, and curve fits, turn it back on, okay, hit refresh, and it hasn't changed very much, barely changed. Okay. You could try and do exponential, refresh, okay, line, there you go, there's your line of best fit calculated, and that is the number that you'll put in your table and give to me on your poster. And like I was saying to Viet's group and Jason, you don't need every single graph. Okay, you'd maybe provide one graph. You'd take a screenshot of this and stick that on your poster showing this was your velocity time for, what file was this? This was their C shape with 150 grams on it. And that's what you put in your title and stick that on. I hope that helps, but this is how you get this number right here. It's the A number. Okay, don't care about the B, that's your intercept. We care about the A. Okay. Oh, that's what I did wrong. When you hit refresh, you have to come down here and click auto fit. Okay, so it did change. It's gone to, take the decimal place back, it's gone to 0.65 instead of 0.58. Okay, getting rid of that top end data that was a bit wonky. So refresh, make sure auto fits on, and that'll reset your line of best fit. Hope that helps. Message me on Edmodo if you need anything else. But the big thing is you want the A value to set what data you're actually after. Use these two black things, and if you want, it won't delete your tracking, which is nice. Even dragging this along to reduce your data. Okay, your tracking is still going to be there, and then when you drag it back out, and now I've just said that. Where's it gone? There we go, and it's back. Okay, so it doesn't delete it. Very last thing, if you're doing this and you want to share with each other, you file and actually just go to the green save. Okay, and this is going to save it now as a track file. So it's going to save all your data and it's going to save the video embedded with it. Stick it wherever you want. So desktop, new folder, and all your tracks. Stick it wherever you want. But okay, save, and then to close out and do it all again, down at the bottom, right click on the tab, hit close. I hope that helps. Like I said, any questions, message me on Edmodo. Bye.